So obviously in around April 2022, Johnny Depp started his highly publicised case with Amber Heard in America. And I think either just before this or during the trial, or maybe just after, but I tend to believe it was before, I added the real Johnny Depp as a follower on Instagram. That was all okay until about July. Now, it wasn't obviously the real Johnny Depp that got in touch with me, and I know that now. It was a scammer pretending to be him. But I'd just never seen any of the notices that Johnny's team had put out about these fake accounts. So I fell for it and started talking to him. Now, from about July 2022 to about the end of September 2022, I was talking to this scammer. It started off for about a week or so on Instagram message, and that was okay. It was just normal conversation like, "Hi, how are you today? What have you been up to?" And then it sort of quickly turned to romantic, obviously, because he's a romance scammer. And then this was obviously a ploy to get me over to WhatsApp. So I got over to WhatsApp, and it actually turned romantic and more businesslike, where for about another week or so we just did the romantic chat and there was no mention of any money, and then boom, about a week later it turned to money, and the first amount of money was around between 400 and 450, but I believe the actual amount was about £412. Now this was for a meet and greet package, because at the time he was on a tour in France with his late friend Jeff Beck. Now what this VIP meet and greet package included was a personal meet and greet with Johnny Depp and Jeff Beck. Obviously, this would have been the scammers, and it would have never happened. And then a stay in a hotel where they were staying and a meal. So I thought that was a good price, and I paid for it. Obviously, in hindsight, it wasn't. Then the second amount, and actually the biggest amount, was between maybe 1,000 and 1,600, but conservatively, let's say between 1,500 and 1,600. Now this was for like a lockbox that had things in it like clothes, jewellery, money and other things, and apparently it also had a phone in it. So the thing that held this up was the fact that I was paying it through my bank, but through crypto, if you get what I mean. And what I kept paying what I was being told, but it never quite reached what the amount that they needed, because apparently it kept getting held up at customs. So that's where the £1,600 come from. The fact that it got apparently sent and then it kept getting held up at customs, which they needed more money for to release it, and obviously it was never quite enough. So that stopped, right? So during this time as well, there was rumours flying around that the real Johnny Depp was actually looking for a mansion in France. I think these turned out to be not true, but obviously the scammer ran with it, and he was looking for a mansion in France for me and him to grow old together. So obviously I thought, oh, that sounds nice, but that wasn't true. So the last bit of the scam was actually what most scammers start with. It was the gift cards, and this was the smallest amount of around between maybe £100 to £150. So these were on Xbox gift cards or PlayStation gift cards. I can't quite remember now. But I sent him these gift cards so he could get his script for a film he was filming. So obviously the real Johnny Depp was actually filming, but the fake Johnny Depp also ran with this and said that he was filming it as well. So I willingly gave him this money, this between £100 to £150. Bearing in mind at the time I still had to pay my phone bills and housekeeping to my mum, and obviously this scam going on made it really hard for me to do that. So it wasn't until about the 23rd of September in the early hours of the morning I found the real Johnny Depp's Discord server, which I joined, and I found out, or I was told by them that it was a scam. So later that morning I went to the bank. Me and my mum with my brother went up the local shopping centre. I think we had something to eat, but then I went to the bank, and the lady that was helping me was reading out to the scam department these emails from the scammer because he'd made a fake shipping company. Obviously it was supposed to be a real one, but he couldn't use a real one, so he actually used the real one's name but spelt shipping wrong. So she was reading these emails out that were quite clearly pushy to the fraud department. The fraud department weren't having any of it. They kept saying that I willingly gave the money over and that I wouldn't be getting it back, even though I was pushed into it. So that was that. I didn't get the money back. So I blocked the fake Johnny Depp and the fake Johnny Depp's manager off of Instagram. That didn't stop them though, because they made multiple accounts, so I had to make a new one to get away from them. But that didn't help either. They just added me back on the new account. So what I did is I blocked them and stopped using Instagram for over a year because I'll tell you now, this scammer is so persistent. He likes to get in touch with me. Well, let's start. Until the end of 2022, he was getting in touch with me on Instagram. I would just keep blocking him. Then the next thing I knew, he found me on X, which obviously was Twitter at the time, and I blocked him there. And so that didn't stop him. It just made him lay dormant, and then he found me again in 2023, and he was getting in touch with me every couple of months, and every time I would block him, he would just open a new account. So I started using TikTok in a big way. I mean, in 2022, I opened the original TikTok account. I didn't actually post anything. I was just watching TikToks on it. But he found me on there in 2023. So I then decided to open a new TikTok account after blocking him on this old TikTok account of mine. So obviously I then blocked him and made a new account, but he found me again, so I blocked him. And then last year he got back in touch with me on the very same TikTok that I blocked him from a year earlier. I just didn't have the energy to make up a new account to try and get away from him. So I blocked him, and that stopped him for about a year until yesterday, the 11th of October 2025, where he got in touch with me on Lemonade, which is a new app from TikTok. Now, as you can imagine, this really scared me. And so I blocked him and reported him. But obviously, at the moment, I don't believe that the real Johnny Depp has a Lemonade account. So I couldn't really report this scammer as being a fake account of Johnny Depp if he didn't really have an account. So at the moment he's blocked, but I am so scared of doing anything because he'll find me again, and it'll be on other social media platforms. It's making me not feel safe, and I think these social media websites and apps really need to do something about this, because it's getting to the point now where I'm either thinking of stopping social media altogether or making my account private, so he has to add me. He has to wait for me to approve him, but obviously I won't approve him. I'll just go onto his account and block and report him. So yeah guys, I'm really scared of this scammer because he just keeps getting in touch with me.